Mara ya kwanza nilipodungwa, nikitoka hapa ilikuwa inauma bado, lakini nikienda ilikuwa imeacha.
The most active ingredient in the composition of the venom is a component called melittin.
Now I'm even more scared to try because I wanted to really try. Thanks, Kilonzo. Well, hi there, and welcome to another episode of Your World. My name is Winnie Lubembe. Now, listen to this. Something that is considered to cause pain and swelling is now used to actually treat pain and swelling. What exactly am I talking about? I am talking about apitherapy, or if you like, bee venom therapy. And the big question is, how is this something that causes so much pain then be used to treat conditions like arthritis or severe inflammation? Well, that is what we are here to find out right here at Bella Farm. So come with me and let's talk to Simon, who has had a severe case of migraine, and to understand how apitherapy has helped him with the pain. So come along. Well, before we get to understand more about apitherapy and what it's all about, or bee venom therapy, if you want, then let's get to meet Mr. Maina to tell us what his condition was, how he found out about apitherapy, and how he is doing so far. So, asante sana for sparing your time kuongea na sisi, James Maina.
Yes.
So, uliniambia ulikuwa unaumia na nini? Migraine. Kwa muda gani?
Kwa muda wa miaka 15.
Okay.
Nilikuwa na hiyo shida.
All right. So mkua tuelezee mkua like ilikuwa inauma kiasi gani, kwa sababu unajua kila mtu anasema naumwa na kichwa, but yako ilikuwa
ilikuwa inaniuma kiasi mpaka sioni mzuri. Kwanza usiku siwezi endesha gari. Lazima niende nyumbani mapema. Lakini sasa nasikia iko sawa.
Okay. All right. So kabla ukuje hapa, ulitumia dawa gani? Ulienda hospitali? Ukaambiwa nini?
Kabla nikuje hapa nilikuwa nimeenda hospitali nyingi mpaka nikafanyiwa x-ray. Kuna kitu ilipatikana, ikakuwa sasa nitumie painkiller. Nimetumia painkiller hiyo miaka yote. Kwa bahati mzuri nikalete customer hapa, mgonjwa. Sasa na mimi nikakuwa nimepata usaidizi. Nikaongea na daktari, nikamwambia shida yangu na akanitibu. Sasa kichwa iko sawa.
Okay. All right. So ulikuwa unameza painkiller mara ngapi kwa siku?
Hizo painkiller asubuhi na jioni.
Asubuhi na jioni. So ulikuwa unauma na kichwa like kila siku ama
sio kila siku, kila saa.
Kila saa.
Kila saa.
So kwa asubuhi hadi usiku ukilala?
Hata nikilala, nikiamuka bado ni hivyo hivyo. Nikishida ni hivyo hivyo. Lakini nilikuwa na meza mara mbili, asubuhi na jioni.
Na mchana ulikuwa unaweza kufanya kazi yako ama
hiyo kichwa? Nilikuwa nafanya tu kwa kujikaza. Vile uwezi kaa kwa nyumba.
Okay. So na meza painkiller asubuhi na jioni kila siku kwa sababu unaumwa na kichwa kila saa. Pain level yako ilikuwa kiasi gani? Like from a scale of 1 to 10. Unaweza sema hiyo uchungu ilikuwa
acha niseme 8.
8. Okay. All right. So ukaleta mgonjwa na mimi nikakuja nikaelezea daktari shida yangu na akanitibu. Okay. So alikutibu. So ulikuja akakwambia
tutakufanyia hivi na hivi. Na ukitoka hapa kichwa haitauma tena. Na ikaasha mpaka wa leo. Na ndio umeona nimerudi hapa kuleta bibi yangu, na yeye akona shida ya mgongo.
Pia akadungwe. Okay. Sasa vile daktari alikwambia atakuwa anatumia nyuki. So what was your first thought? Vile tu ulisikia atakuwa anatumia nyuki inakusting?
Wakati aliniambia atatumia nyuki nilishindwa hii nyuki itafanya kazi namna gani. Na sioni kama iko na sindano iko na dawa. Lakini nikasema kama hawa nimeleta wamepona, hata mimi nitadugwa.
Okay. So ulianza kudungwa lini? Umeenda sessions ngapi?
Nimedungwa sasa, hii ni nitadungwa leo mara ya 3.
Okay. So mara ya kwanza vile ulidungwa ulisikia aje?
Mara ya kwanza nilipodungwa, nikitoka hapa ilikuwa inauma bado, lakini nikienda ilikuwa imeacha.
Kabla ufike nyumbani umeacha kuumwa?
Ilikuwa imeacha kusema kweli. Hata nikawaambia hao kichwa yangu imeacha
kuuma. Okay. Kwa sababu mtu anaweza sema lakini si ulikuwa unameza painkiller? Hizo painkiller
sio kuyo nilikuwa nimemeza.
Na bado
sasa nilikuwa nataka nigojea jioni, lakini ya jioni sikumeza.
Kichwa iliacha kuuma. Okay. So hiyo siku ulikuja ulidungwa mara ngapi?
Nilidungwa nyuki 4. Hata saa hii atanidunga 4.
Atakudunga 4. So ulidungwa 4 hiyo siku.
Ingine nikadungwa 4.
Nikadungwa 4.
Na leo nadungwa 4. Na akitaka kuniongezea 1 ni sawa.
Haitakuwa mingi sana, lakini tutaongea na daktari pia tuambie dosage inakuwa aje. So wewe saa hii umedungwa, this will be your 3rd session, lakini unasema hauumi na kichwa bado. 3rd, si ndio? Lakini umesema sisi tulidungwa ya kwanza umangu na kichwa. But mtu anaweza uliza, so kama ulipona, kwa nini ulirudi for the 2nd session?
Unajua kwa nini nirudi? Daktari aliniambia ni lazima nimalize dose.
Okay.
Na dose ni mara ngapi? Si ni 4. Sasa bado nimebakisha ingine 1.
Okay. Lakini sasa unasema unasikia
sasa ni hata nikikataa kukuja haina shida. Lakini ni lazima nimalize dose.
Okay. All right. Tutaongea na daktari atuambie anajua aje wewe unahitaji dose fulani, mwingine anahitaji dose kiasi gani, na all those things. Lakini umesema umeleta bibi yako. Akadungwe.
Hapa akitaka kukuambia atakwambia. Ya mgongo.
Okay. Ameshadungwa.
Amedungwa. Umepata kama ashadungwa.
Okay. All right. So ujairudi hata hospitali kuangalia?
Hata sirudi haraka sasa.
Macho unaona
iko sawa. Kusema kweli.
Macho iko sawa.
Iko sawa.
So unaweza nini wale watu wako nyumbani wanatuangalia?
Wale wako nyumbani naweza kuambia wasikuve roho kama uko na shida. Kuja kwa huyu daktari atakuponya.
Okay.
Mtafute na ni wa ukweli. Najua watu wengine wanaweza fikiria sasa labda unaenda kwa Kalumanzila. Huyu ni wa ukweli. Ni kitu unaona anakufanyia.
Lakini unajua kuna watu wengine wako na hiyo temptation now that unajua si ni nyuki tu. Unajua kuna watu wengine wanaweza enda wakachukue nyuki, wakafuge nyuki, and then akisikia na uchungu kidogo anajidunga.
Lakini
wewe
hiyo hapana. Uwezi kama hujasoma kuhusu hiyo nyuki uwezi. Wewe ujui ni gani iko na dawa, ujui ni gani ya asali. Sio nyuki yoyote. Uwezi fuga alafu ujidunge.
Okay. So well, let's speak to let's speak to Dr. Kaboyo and get to really understand. So then how does he know what dosage to give, and after how long should people experience some sort of relief? Okay, and what are some of the other conditions that apitherapy can help with? All right, even as he finishes his session with Mr. Maina. So let's welcome Dr. Take us through the next session.
So for every patient, every condition, there's some cardinal points that we administer the beasting. But first of all, because now this is a 3rd timer, some patients respond very well, especially if you don't have any allergy and you've been on other conventional medicine. It really helps because your condition is not exaggerated compared to somebody who had neglected the condition. So for his condition, he had really tried, and when he came, I told him, for migraine is one of the conditions that we know reacts very well. The other one is the numbness, but for migraines, we really like it is almost like an instant. So we tested him for allergy, and he was okay, no allergy, just a normal wheeling. So we subjected him to stings. So the first time we did 4, the second time we did also 4. But this time we'll add 2 more to be 6. So because it's progressive, because every person is has got their own internal conditions, we do it progressively, because also the venom level also depends from the bee. Based on age, the older the bee, the higher the venom content.
Yeah.
So because we are not able to discern specifically,
Yes, and
at
see
what
how
age,
old the quote unquote old the bee is. Okay,
so
all right.
that's why it's a bit we go progressively.
All right. So what are some of the cardinal points, like you said, for migraine?
So for migraines, we do this called bladder 11. We also do bladder 10, both sides, and also we do tripowoma 20. So once you say tripowoma 20, it's here, bladder, this meridian, this point and this point. These are traditional Chinese acupuncture points, so which have been integrated into apitherapy for acupuncture. So those points are really working for some of those conditions.
Okay, all right. So you said today you do what?
So you do bladder 10 and tripowoma 20.
Okay, all right. So those are like directly linked to the.
Those are directly linked to the brain.
Okay,
Yeah,
I see that.
For migraines,
I
we've
see
seen
that.
them working very well.
All right. I mean, he said what after the second session? The first session he went home and he was okay.
It's very magical, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, you cannot see the word magical, but it's almost like instant for migraines. And if you see somebody coming once and second time without any improvement, then technically maybe there was more damage beyond the migraine.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's see. Weren't you scared?
No, we take them through a session,
Yeah.
so he's able to relax.
Okay.
But if he's not a bit nervous,
Yeah.
we don't attempt, because we don't want issues.
Okay.
Because the idea actually here is to try to relieve the pain.
Exactly.
So if he's a bit anxious, you just
Yeah.
tell them to come another day until they are able to bear it all.
All right.
Because it's painful, but it only lasts for 3 minutes, the pain.
Yeah.
But the aftermath is very wonderful results.
Okay. I see that. All right. So, and which type of bees? Because see, there's the male and the female, right?
Yeah. In the kingdom world, we use female.
Yeah.
They are the most productive.
Okay.
Because the male, they only use their organ only for mating.
Okay.
They don't sting. But for bees, the worker bees, they use it for defense.
All right.
So that's why we use.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'll let you, because I have so many questions, but I'll have a session with you. But let me
All
just.
right. So, we do sting.
That's it?
There, the sting is already here.
Oh, okay.
Ready is the first sting.
All right.
Then you go the other side. You do the second sting.
Okay.
So you only stings once. So this one,
Yeah.
you just fly off.
All right.
without
And then
a
that's
stinger.
it.
So technically that's it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we allow the patient to ask for additional points, as long as you know they are.
I mean, yeah, he said that ukitaka kuniweka ya tano ni sawa. Okay.
So he's very brave, very courageous,
Yeah.
very encouraging. But it's because after you realize the benefits, you can be able to bear it.
Yeah.
Because it only lasts for 3 to 5 minutes. Then the pain of the sting is gone. So once at least 3 to 5 minutes, we clearly know the venom is already inside the body.
Yeah.
Because what you can see here is the venom sac.
Yes.
So that's the one that has venom inside. And then you've got the barbs that penetrate, or the lancets. So once the venom is already inside the body, then this is no longer useful.
Alright.
So we come here and remove. Then we apply this cream made from beeswax
Okay.
to minimize on the effect of scratching.
All right. Oh, yeah, because it can really itchy
scratchy,
after. Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you said between 3 to 5 minutes, the
that's
venom
all.
is already in the system, and then you remove all those things. My question was then, how do you know which dosage to give to a person?
We because is a natural injection. We are not able to really ascertain the content of the composition is still the same,
Okay.
but the volume is a bit different kidogo.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why we start with a few beastings. Progressively we go adding more, especially if you don't have an allergy.
Okay.
So everybody here starts with around four beastings. If there are no allergy, you add 2, 6. Next time we keep on adding.
Okay.
But the maximum we've had, somebody is taking around 50 beastings.
In one session. Okay, depending on the condition.
Yeah, that was severe, severe arthritis.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then how much is too much? Like at what point then does this become a problem?
Not much, but the pain might be a bit unbearable, which is not the idea. The idea is the liquid venom.
Yeah.
So once we do that, some patients feel nice, keep on adding, and so we say them. Too much of everything is a bit poisonous.
That's true. That's
So
true. Okay. All right. So for case of migraine, right? At what point then do you consider them healed or cured? Because what he said after the first session, he felt better, right?
Yes,
so then yes. So at what point then do you say, usikuje tena, wewe umepona?
The patient behavior is a bit different.
Yeah.
There are some people, once I was he was treated by a natural antidote, I enjoy, just do it.
Yeah.
So even without having any condition, we also sting ourselves and you don't have much condition you're trying to treat.
Okay.
So once your condition is healed, no more painkillers. It's not suppression.
Yeah.
Is actually healing.
Yeah.
So they are at liberty.
Okay.
But at least we recommend 3 to 4. Then
3
from
to
there
4
they're
sessions
at
and
liberty.
then okay. Then you decide whether you want to come or
continue.
not. Well, Dr. Thank you so much. This is very insightful. I still have so many questions for you, but we're going to have a session with Dr. after the break to really understand apitherapy, what it's all about, what are some of the other conditions that you also treat with the same, because I'm still stuck at the 50 stings per session, but hey, anything to relieve the pain, right? Okay, so let's take that break. We'll see you after the short break to understand more about apitherapy, but for now, thank you so much. All the very best. Utatuambia sasa utasikia aje later on, but sasa umesema unasikia vizuri.
Sasa niko sawa. Nashukuru Mungu tena daktari kwa kunitibu. Kama sio yeye na Mungu singepona.
Ungepona. Hata ungekuwa unaendesha gari. All right, see you after the short break.
Lakini nimejileta.
All right, so see you after this very short break.
So I love cooking, so I try to cook every now and then when I can, just to bring the relaxation bit. Something I think many people laugh at. I also like watching chick flicks and Nigerian movies. They crack me up, they just release the stress away.
My skin is my identity and deserves care made specially for me. New Nivea Radiant and Beauty Advanced Care with 5 oils and 5 vitamins. Helps reduce appearance of stretch marks in just 2 weeks. For your shade of beautiful.
In Zari, nothing is certain.
Nothing will ever be the same again.
Will you survive the jealousy?
Unajiona tajiri, eh? Zitaisha tu tuone utaringana pesa gani.
The secrets.
Ukiambia mtu yeyote boss.
Nini uniambia Lona?
The deception.
To family.
Will Nina survive Lola?
How is this possible?
The ultimate face-off. Zari continues weeknights at 8:30 on Maisha Magic Plus, DSTV channel 163, GoTV channel 3. In Zari, nothing is certain. Will you survive the jealousy?
Unajiona tajiri, eh?
The secrets.
Ukiambia mtu yeyote boss.
The deception.
To family.
Ultimate face-off. Zari continues weeknights at 8:30 on Maisha Magic Plus, DSTV channel 163, GoTV channel 3.
All right, so Stephen, I can see a number of hives. Here, there's one here, there's others here, then there's others there. But I'm really curious to understand the reason behind this. Before we even talk about bee venom, what is it, and all those things, I'm just curious to understand because you are an engineer, right? Civil engineer, and now you are an apitherapist. How did you get yourself into this space?
Interestingly, being an engineer, I really wanted to have a business that will engage me continually.
All right.
Because engineering, you get a project, once you do, take a while. Then the other cycle of engineering is that once if you're employed, you repeat the same designs over and over again.
True.
So technically, I felt a bit challenged. Like, I'm doing houses. So I studied with the dairy. At that time, I was a telephone farmer.
Okay. All right.
So something happened. My 10 cattle died.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Then later on, as I was still scratching my head, I saw one of the farming I can be able to do when I'm not around is tree farming. So I thought, oh, okay, trees, by the way, because I just need to be there when planting, when giving manure, and that's all. So initially I thought about timber. Then I did my summation, 10 years. Then I get my timber, one tree fetches 5 to 10,000. No.
The math did not math.
The math did not. So I said no. What about fruit trees? I'll wait 2 to 3 years. They'll start bearing fruit. I'll be selling. Perfect. I did avocado.
Yeah.
So when they started flowering, I visited my farm and I saw bees pollinating. So the second idea came, bee farming.
Yeah. So then that is how Bella Farm
yes,
grew,
now
right?
that's how Bella Farm was founded. So I went back to school. I first did a diploma, a certificate in beekeeping. Then at least I had the fundamentals. So I bought my first hives. They were colonized. So, okay, fine. It became interesting.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, okay, fine. Now, my tenure in employment, I would say, is 5 years. So I quit 2015.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I did not look for employment anymore.
Yeah.
So I went for a diploma, a certificate course in Nairobi National Beekeeping, Lenana. I practiced with it for like 3 years. I saw I'm not adding value. So a friend of mine sent me like the apitherapy. Somebody was treating arthritis using bee stings. So, and because I'm a beekeeper, I was interested. So I went and looked for that organization that trains. I found it. So I applied and I paid my school fees. So I left for Romania, go and do apitherapy course. So that's where I found the beehive have got 9 products. And people have only utilized honey and beeswax.
Beeswax, yeah.
But many people throw away propolis.
True.
They don't know how to harvest royal jelly. They don't know how to harvest beehive air.
With what?
Beehive air. That gas. Those are the third product that people do not utilize.
Yeah.
We have said propolis, royal jelly, beehive air.
Yeah.
We have pollen, bee pollen.
Yeah.
We have got bee bread. We have got the young ones.
Okay.
The male brood.
Yeah.
We call apilanir. Male brood, very nice. Those maggots.
Yeah. You eat them?
Very nice.
Okay.
Very
all right.
therapeutic.
Okay.
We've got other purposes.
Okay, all right.
Then the last product is the bee venom.
Bee venom, which is actually the subject of our conversation this morning. That is very interesting to understand all these other products that we don't think about, because honestly, majority of the people would just know about honey and maybe beeswax.
Yes,
and
yes.
maybe propolis, maybe. I'm saying maybe very carefully.
Maybe, yeah.
So then bee venom, can we just understand then what is it and, how is this useful?
All right.
Yeah.
The venom is in very small quantities. And studies have been done over and over again.
Right.
But the most active ingredient in the composition of the venom is a component we call melittin.
Melittin, okay.
That's what we target.
All right.
Even the strength of the bee venom is measured using melittin composition, because it ranges from 42 to 51%.
Right. Okay.
So their mode of administration is quite different. we have got 3 or 4 modes of administration. We've got the bee sting therapy itself, the one I'll do to you.
Okay. All right.
Advanced economies are extracting and producing injectables. We've got body creams using bee venom.
All right.
And then, so topical application, injectable,
All right.
and the bee sting, the direct bee sting therapy.
Okay.
Yes.
You know, for all those things, let's just sit so that we really understand, because I'm curious to understand. So what part of the venom is it considered then, I would say, medicinal?
Ancient history, beekeepers were observed they don't get certain kind of conditions. Why is it? Because everybody eats honey, not only the beekeepers. The other bee products to those advanced economies, they were also being consumed. So the only thing that the beekeepers were experiencing were the stings. And if you read through the history, there are some things that happen accidentally. You find somebody had a condition, they were stung by bees, like Lyme condition, they were stung by bees accidentally, then the condition was improved or healed instantly. So they were observed, beekeepers don't get arthritis, they don't get tumors and cancers. So that thing which was isolated that beekeepers only experienced and not the other people was the venom. So when studies were conducted by medical doctors, Bodox in Austria, and some German researchers, it was isolated that the venom had some medicinal component. And that's why beekeepers were immune. And actually, the other factor is that beekeepers live longer. There's longevity. And studies began as early as 1800. So that's now, it has come of age. Now they're even able to do the injectable.
But can we understand that some of these conditions that the bee venom treats? We've talked about arthritis.
Talk about arthritis, we've talked about
migraines.
Which,
yes.
We talk about numbness, malaria.
You can use malaria?
Yeah, for bee stings, yes.
Okay.
There's fatigue.
Oh, yes.
You know,
and there's some people who suffer from like chronic fatigue.
Chronic fatigue, yes. We've got some skin conditions.
All right.
We've treated wounds by once we clean and we see that it started reddening.
So I'm curious to understand. So the venom helps to deal with the inflammation. What happens that, you know, this person is considered healed, or what exactly happens?
There are 3 forms of reactions.
All right.
There is normal reaction, that if you're stung here, just it will heal here. There's a general reaction. You're stung here, then the whole hand inflames. Those are still safe. But the worst is you're stung here, then you start scratching the whole body. It can cause anaphylaxis.
All right.
So that's a bit risky. So that's why we actually first do an allergy test for any patient who comes along, because we must be very certain about if they are reactive. Within 3 days, the inflammation will come down. If you inflame, you heal faster.
All right.
So we actually take through a patient through the process to understand what is it all about, what is the expected outcome. Then our patient will tell them there are 3 probable outcomes in terms of healing. There's somebody who really heals very well. There's somebody who improves their condition. Then there's the last group that resists.
Okay.
But the beauty about even the group that resists is that the condition is contained, so it doesn't worsen.
So then how do you know where to administer the sting?
There are traditional Chinese medicine, they use acupuncture points.
Right.
And those acupuncture points, like...
oh, you have a model here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have these meridians. These are called meridians. And all these meridians, all the way from here, from the foot, coming all the way, the toes, all the way to the... Those are external. Then we have got the internal organs, like the brain, the heart, the intestines.
Kidneys as well.
So you cannot sting them. So there are these points that are related to the internal organs. So for the brain, there are these there are 13 meridians. So there's gallbladder, there's bladder meridian, there's the heart meridian, there's pericardium meridian, small intestine meridian, kidney. So there are 13 of them.
All right.
But for each point, there's a cardinal point. Then that point, if you touch and you sting, you get better results.
Okay.
So for then, those are for general points. Then we've got the local points. If you've got a condition like arthritis, there's the local point. Maybe on the knee, on the heel, on the arm, elbow, on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Those are local points. So those are administered directly.
All right.
But the general points, you must know which point leads to the internal.
Okay, I see that.
Yes.
And the dosage as well. How do you know what dosage to administer? Because I want to believe like it's not the same.
Of course,
And
yeah.
you also talked about it being progressive.
Yes,
So
yes.
one might start with a certain number of stings and then
Yes, yes.
either increase or decrease.
All right.
I want to believe. Yeah.
An increment.
Or an increment mostly.
An increment.
Okay.
Then there's like a point where the patient will feel that was a bit too much. Then you stabilize with them. So this is what happens. You must learn from somebody. So I was taught by a medical doctor who's an apitherapist in Romania. So for you to be able to determine the dosage, you every patient is unique in their own way.
All right.
And remember, this the venom is not graduated because every bee has its own concentration based on age
All right.
and what is on in the environment in terms of pollen.
All right.
So that one is not graduated. So what we do is that we start, at least for the first time, we don't exceed 4 or 5.
Okay.
After doing the allergy test.
Yeah.
So once you're verified, like 4 worked for them, next time you add 2, they become 6. Next time you add 2, they become 8. Next time you do 10, then they will tell you, last time it was a bit severe.
Yeah.
So you'll know that patient, they just require 8.
Yeah.
That's
and then that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But we've had a case where a lady,
Yeah.
even we did 54.
So then, depending on the condition, at what point do you consider this person healed or cured?
We actually recommend for migraines and for numbness, because we know they are more of instant kind of treatment.
All right.
We recommend at least 3. But for the stubborn ones, we don't limit.
All right.
Simply because it is the patient that will feel like, wow, my condition is contained.
Yeah.
So let me break for a month and see if it's truly contained. Then maybe I'll continue. We recommend somebody, even if you are treated, because you're not immune, just make it like now just once in a month.
All right.
Whether you're healed, whether you have a condition or not, we also do on ourselves because it's also an immunostimulator.
You know, I was about to ask, do you have to be sick for you to?
Nah, it's an
to do
immunostimulator.
therapy, so you don't have
Nah.
that. Okay. Do you wanna?
No, don't
You
worry.
sting yourself.
Yeah, I'll do.
Okay. But then, so do we have, like, as you do that, do we have instances where, like, the venom is too much in the body that a person maybe reacts to the same? Ow! That hurt, right?
Very nice.
It's itchy, yeah?
Yeah, very nice.
Now I'm even more scared to try because I wanted to really try. But based on your reaction.
No, it's just.
Okay, so you said what? You first of all do an
An
allergy
allergy.
test.
Yes.
Okay, do you want to do that?
No.
Okay, fine.
And then within 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, the pain is over.
I'm actually getting goosebumps. Okay, fine. Fine. Let's try. Yeah.
Let's try.
Yeah.
Then, no more pain, no more itchiness.
It's gone.
Yeah. It's all
And then
removed.
yeah.
It's all removed.
Oh wow. Okay, so you don't have to be sick, but yes, but the question that I asked, even as you do the, okay. Well, we're doing first what the allergy test. An allergy test is just you use the bee sting.
Yeah, but the concentration we just let it like just 5%. Of the venom.
Okay. You sort of like need to count me down. Okay.
Happy thoughts.
That's it. That's it. No, you haven't done any. Have you?
This one. This is the sting.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah. I mean, I now. Oh, okay, yeah. It's itchy. Look at my face. I have goosebumps.
Goosebumps.
Oh. Okay, that wasn't too bad. But that was what for the test.
Yeah,
That's
just
for the-
sting and remove.
How? Yeah. Ah, I spoke too soon.
So it's, you can feel it.
Yes.
Then wait for like count 20 seconds.
You did hear, right?
Yeah, we'll see it.
Okay, so as we wait for that, ooh, I feel like itchy. Okay, so do you have like instances where people have like too much venom that they sort of like react to the same?
No, actually.
Ooh, wow, yeah, that hurts.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We didn't have actually an emergency.
Yeah.
Somebody was brought from outside,
Okay.
from the village. He has been stung by bees when he was doing his chores at the farm.
Yeah.
So he was a bit unconscious. So we just handled it, and within 3-5 minutes, he was okay.
Okay, but then in case someone comes and then you do the test, the person develops an allergy, then what do you do?
No, in that case, we've got antihistamine. We give them. So
Okay.
in case, but we just have to.
Majority
keep them
of the
in stock.
times,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And what about like the cosmetic aspect of the same? Because like you said, that happens as well. So you do.
Yeah.
testing.
If you do the venom cream, it is anti-wrinkles. It's anti-wrinkles.
Okay.
Because it activates collagen.
All right.
So your skin again that is of course if you're not much, you don't have to have much wrinkles. But if you're already developed, then the regeneration aspect might be not as effective.
Must be very,
As somebody approaching that
Yeah.
facial wrinkle.
So do you do like the stings on the face, or that has to?
No,
be a
we do
cream?
the venom, then we do the cream.
Oh, do a cream from the same.
So that you apply.
Are people embracing that?
We don't have even volume to do that.
Oh.
Because one casting like this would be hundreds of
Yeah, I can imagine.
very expensive.
Yeah.
But once we get the venom, we'll definitely do it.
Yeah.
Because of course, nothing is expensive to somebody who's wanting to achieve something.
Yeah.
And if it works, why not?
Okay. But as we bring this then to a close, in terms of people, first of all, understanding and embracing apitherapy, where would you say we are at as a country? And what are some of the key important factors that people really need to understand? Because again, there will be, people who are skeptical about it, as far as does it really work? Does it heal? And all those things. And also practice safely.
Right.
Because when we say just get yourself, stung, but some people might actually abuse that, right?
Yeah.
Just go somewhere, get a bee, sting themselves, and then that's it. So what would you say as we bring this to a close?
Even if you get a bee sting in the field, it will still work the same way. But at that point, if you don't know your allergy reaction, it might put you at a risk.
Okay.
But if you follow the right apitherapy, like here in Bella Farm, we very certain like it is not harmful to you. Because actually, already the patient is in pain.
Yeah.
So we don't want to add pain,
More pain.
that will not relieve the pain that they are having. So in terms of people are doing it, it's a bit risky, and that's why it's a bit procedural. So that like any other medical, the conventional medicine, the alternative, the herbal medicines, you cannot overdo anything. No matter how good it is, even honey, no matter how sweet it is, you cannot exit some intake.
Yeah.
So, in terms of people understanding how it works, we have a duty to educate
people.
them.
That's
we
true.
have a real duty.
Yeah.
And one of the things we are doing is that we are having some organizations, not real organization, but we are visiting some of our farmers, organizing them into groups, and then educating them on the other bee products, because most of them are after honey.
That's true.
And
then,
the moment they have low harvest, they abandon.
Yeah.
But if somebody knows, like, even that cabbage I get from there is healthy for me, it is no longer mythical, like bees kill.
Yeah.
You will find some people starting embracing warmly until we have got quite massive numbers in terms of. even provision of
You
the
know,
toilet.
now I understand why, like you said earlier on, that sometimes when people come to you, they want more. Like after the first thing, they're like, yeah, can I
Yeah,
have more?
yeah.
I mean, anyway, Mr. Minor said, hata kitaka kujiongeza ya tano, that's
Yeah,
it. So
yeah.
can I have like one more? Because it's not too bad. Initially, I was scared because I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So can I have like just
Maybe we
one
can do the
more?
other hand.
Okay. All right.
Just relax. I mean,
Okay.
if you just relax. I mean,
Okay. It's not too, now I
You've
know.
gone the whole cycle.
It's not too bad. Okay. All right. So as we bring this to a close, just one. I don't want to look because I think if I look, I'll be more.
Yeah,
more
just
scared.
look at it.
Oh, okay.
Just look at it.
All right.
It's a way of grieving your.
Yeah. Okay. Ah, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that I felt. Ooh. My therapist.
No, just leave it.
That I. Ow. Can you see all the goosebumps on my face?
It's because you're scared. Nothing to do with the reaction.
Wow. Okay. All right. Yeah. But I mean, yeah. It's just like for a second.
Just that observation, you're just scared of the sight.
Yeah.
Of it. Nothing.
And then that's it.
Yeah.
And then the pain literally subsides. Listen, guys, it's not too bad. It really isn't too bad. And if you suffer from like those chronic, illnesses, and you're in chronic pain and all those things, listen, you might actually consider trying apitherapy. It's not too bad. You just feel the sting, and then give it a few minutes, and then the pain subsides. So, are you a believer right now? See what I did there? Okay, well, fine. If not, that's it for this month's segment as far as understanding apitherapy and what it's all about. So we'll see you after the segment. Well, after such an in-depth discussion as far as understanding apitherapy and the benefits versus the risks, now you have a better understanding. So if you want to try, then you know where to go. But for now, I'm going to bid you goodbye and go get myself more products, including honey, maybe beeswax. Maybe I might get more shot from the same as far as apitherapy is concerned. Well, we'll see. But for now, goodbye. See you next time. Asante sana. and all the very best. It might be weird to think that something that causes pain and swelling might actually be used to treat things like pain and swelling. Ama paka hapa, unataka so nishukie tu hapa.
What are some of the pet peeves you have when it comes to client etiquette?
Please, if I tell you to close your eyes,
Imagine.
if you open your eyes, you're blinking. I'm trying to put product on your eyelids. It's going everywhere. It can get in your eyes. Some people get irritated when product get in their eyes. Concealers go on your forehead, the bridge of your nose, upper under the eyes, just above the lip, and the chin area, this part. I come from people who are mostly book smart with traditional employment, so artists. Yeah, especially if you went to uni and everything.
What did you study in uni?
Criminology.
Criminology?
Yeah.
The Glam, in association with Nivea Black and White Deodorant.
Nivea Black and White Deodorant protects me and my favorite outfits. That's why I feel confident and free. Nivea's 5x anti-action formula and 48-hour protection is also available for men.
We have been excited to be a part of this journey, to be able to enable our men not only to have an opportunity to come together, but also to ensure that even as they live out their lives beyond this day, that they're able to be transformative in the various societies that they're a part of. As Safaricom, we are aware that our purpose is to transform lives. And today we have said that we have to live our lives elevated. And hence our partnership with the Nation Media Group to be able to use our various platforms to bring people together, to find opportunities to be able to soar and to be bigger and better and greater than they currently are.
He will come and save you. He will come and save you. Say to the weary one, your God will surely come. He will come and save.
There is nothing that God has to give that is giving to us some other way. It's through Christ. It's through Christ. Have you given your life to Christ? Have you yielded to Him? Have you accepted Him as Lord and Savior of your life? Friends, that's where we begin.
No wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me.
Tired of endless scrolling? Say goodbye to the chaos. Introducing the all-new Business Daily website. Experience seamless navigation. Immerse yourself in a world of more videos and more podcasts. Discover more with our enhanced home pages. Engage like never before with our interactive tools. Join us and elevate your reading experience today. Business Daily. More possibilities.
Machampes, hii wiki kwa Shujaz TV, kuja ujione.
Woza tuko route 111 tuko Ngong ndani ya nyumba.
Nakwambia kuna njeve lakini tuna bring the hit manze, sekta ya talent, sekta ya biz.
Kwa skating maboi ndo wengi kuliko wasichana. Sisi kama wasichana uanga hatujitumi. Kuna ile uoga ya kuanguka.
Alafu, relationships zenu zikoaje huku?
Tupate kila Wednesday from 10 to 11 p.m.
It is Shujaz TV.
Only on NTV.
Ndio hiyo.
NTV, turning on your world.
Welcome to this episode of Business Redefined. This year we have come to you from Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. We have come to you from Accra in Ghana. And right now we are coming to you from Rio in Brazil. Copacabana, fantastic place. We are here to discuss matters regarding the global financial architecture and what it means for the global South economies such as Kenya when they are facing elevated debt distress levels. That's a position we have been in. We have seen Zambia default, we have seen Ghana default, we have seen Ethiopia default. So I sat down with two gentlemen to focus on this matter, and where we started our conversation was the state of the global financial architecture and whether it is optimally structured for distress resolution when a sovereign or a country falls into problems.
What we have now is a legacy to some extent of the aftermath of the Second World War, because after the Second World War, there had been this conference, Bretton Woods conference, to lay the foundations of our current economic and financial order. And at that time, it was a matter of power. The victors, they create their own system, and in particular a system under US dominance, saying that all the currencies, existing currencies, would be pegged to the US dollar. And the US dollar would be the only currency pegged against gold. And that means that, as the saying goes, the dollar was as good as gold. But when this system was created, in fact, most of the countries in Asia and Africa were still colonies. So they were not represented at the Bretton Woods Conference. And the system was not made for them. And as some scholars have shown, there has been a contradiction within this system. Because this system was based on the idea that there should not be imbalances, trade imbalances, but equilibrium in terms of trade relationships between countries. And at the same time, there was the kind of commitment that the richer countries should transfer net resources to the poorer countries. So if you want to transfer resources to the poorer countries, that means that there should be imbalances. While the currency system, monetary system, was based on the idea that there should be no trade imbalances. So this has been a problem of this Bretton Woods system. But another problem has been that, well, it was the context of the Cold War, and the US also tried to cement further its hegemony, military hegemony across the world. So the US started to spend a lot in US dollars. And normally when you spend a lot in US dollars, you will have trade deficits.
Well, its state presently is very clear. It's an intensified version of what it began as after the Second World War, which is as a set of institutions and then subsequently a set of markets, because it was not just multilateral organizations and so on, but which served the interests of the dominant powers, the dominant market economy powers or capitalist powers. And this became very clear when the WTO was set up, because despite the fact that it has a vote for every nation, we know that there is no decision which goes through the WTO which doesn't have the sanction, implicit or explicit, of either the United States and Europe. So that was what it started as. But the point is that that the power which came from where the United States was after the Second World War was sort of strengthened in the period after, let's say, the 1980s, when a substantial amount of finance capital located predominantly in Wall Street or New York decided to move into developing countries, and associated with that was a substantial degree of removal of regulations which developing countries had put in place after the Second World War to insulate themselves in part from the adverse consequences of integration with powers like the United States and Europe and of the advanced, the metropolitan countries. So that opening up actually, and the fact that you had this huge amount of liquidity which was being created by the United States Central Bank, moved into these countries, and therefore you not merely had the power of the institutions which were created at Bretton Woods and subsequently, but you also had the power which came from the fact that your finance capital became the principal source of access to international liquidity for these developing countries.
Countries are paying high interest rates on the foreign debt, they issued. And that has been how the system has worked for most of the countries across the global south. So that means that there is a need to be in deficit, because you could have developmental deficits. Developmental deficits means you have to industrialize and you have to make sure that you have all you need for your industrialization. But this is not allowed by the system. So at one point what happens is that countries will borrow, but as their foreign earning capacity depends on the prices of their commodities, the day they have a shock, a negative shock on the commodities they export, the markets will say, oh, now you will become insolvent and we could no longer lend to you. Or if you have to lend, it will be at high yields, high interest rates. And that has been the story of Africa.
One of the big elephants in the room when it comes to the process of sovereign debt restructuring is the question of haircuts and who should take it. So ideally, it has been argued for a long time that multilateral development banks such as World Bank, IMF, Africa Development Bank should not take haircuts in the process of restructuring because they are deemed to be preferential creditors. So when you talk about how much creditors should be foregoing in terms of what the debtor owes them, they are not affected. But this is now being challenged, especially in the present environment where a number of countries have fallen into debt distress. Should MDBs or multilateral development banks take haircuts? I put that question to my discussants.
No, you see, so what's their point? Their point is that, listen, we need to keep our AAA ratings, because without the AAA ratings we cannot borrow cheap, and if we cannot borrow cheap, we cannot actually fulfill our mandate, which is a global mandate. I mean, it's all nations. All of these nations are members of these bodies. Now, there are two issues. I mean, I'll say three issues to this. The first issue, of course, is that their money is largely the money which the erstwhile bilateral creditors partly gave through bilateral sources and through multilateral means. The bilateral flows from the Paris Club have frozen. I mean, the so-called aid fatigue. It's a very nice term. So they're supposed to be. They've given you so much that they're fatigued. So whatever little they put in goes through the multilaterals, whereas a country like China is giving a lot more direct bilateral credit. So if you say that multilaterals shouldn't take a hit, then you're saying that it's bilaterals and the private creditors must take the hit. Private creditors are not willing to play ball. So you're basically saying that I'm going to force bilateral creditors through the offer of financing assurances, as they call them, when the whole decision to finance goes to the board at the IMF. You're telling them that unless you give these assurances, this poor country is going to be in a mess. So the first is it is a way. It's not a question of multilateral. It's a question of developed countries, developed market economies, finding a way to actually not take responsibility for things that they're partly responsible. That's one. Second thing is that why would an MDB have this AAA rating? It has this AAA rating for two reasons. One is that there is an implicit assumption that it being a body which is backed by the developed market economies has their backing. I mean, it has an implicit, they have implicit sovereign guarantees from the strongest nations ostensibly of the world. So if anything happens to them, they're expected to be bailed out. And two, the borrowers are all members by treaty of these organizations. So anyway, they're not supposed to default unless they're really in desperate states. Okay? So you can't then say that I'm getting my AAA rating because of this. But you actually say the reason I'm getting it is because I'm a preferred creditor. It's because they always pay me back. You have to say that, listen, I have this advantage, and if I've actually been partly responsible for creating a situation where somebody can't pay me back, I must help rescue that. I mean, virtually I'd say you need to put your good money after that bad money, because you're partly responsible for that money having gone bad. So you put all of this together and it just doesn't make sense. You're basically saying that this is a way of transferring the burden of adjustment to a new player in the international market.
You know, there is this view called the African premium. That means that the African sovereigns, they are paying much more, you know, everything else equal. There had been, for example, a study by two economists, Michael Olabizi and Howard Steen, and they showed that, for example, when Greece was, you know, the Greek economy was in complete tatters, Greece was facing interest rates lower, you know, than African governments, which were, you know, enjoying economic growth due to the commodity boom. So there's a kind of a discrimination against African sovereigns, you know. But every time they will say, oh, no, we have very, you know, sophisticated models, etc., and we price everything well, we price the risk well. But that's not the case. But the thing is, every time, why do we need to issue debt in foreign currency? And there, I mean, we have to think about that. Because African governments, they have been, you know, thinking like during the colonial period. I'm not joking. They are thinking like during the colonial period. Why? Because during the colonial period, the colonial administrations, they did not have any monetary sovereignty. They don't have their own currency. They were using the metropolitan currency or very vicious, very harsh exchange rate regimes like currency boards. So that means that London would say, for example, to the colonial governments in Kenya, well, you will receive no grant from us, you will receive no loans for us, except for exceptional circumstances. So you have to function on a balanced budget. That means everything you spend has to be financed through taxes and forced labor, because they had no monetary sovereignty. But when you have your own currency, you could never lack your own currency.
Kenya ni nchi ya mabingwa na
hapa hakuna shortcut.
Kuwa bingwa ni kujitolea, kujituma.
Mabingwa hutambua mabingwa wenzao.
Mabingwa hurauka kabla ya jua kuchomoka. Wengine huwa mabingwa wa familia. Mabingwa huhakikisha tuna shine kama mabingwa. Wao hutulisha vyema. Ma-influencer wa kutuconnect mtandaoni. Mabingwa, wale ambao hutuongoza.
Sisi wote ni mabingwa.
Kijana hapo mbele, mzee hapo nyuma. Jamaa na jembe. Boda alimleta jamaa na jembe. Msichana wa kibao. Memba wa bodi, msichana wa maziwa.
Sisi wote ni Team Kenya.
Are you ready? Kuna moja mbele, ngine yende rembe. Apu tem, apu tem, apu tem, apu. Kuna moja mbele, ngine yende rembe. Apu tem, apu tem, apu tem. Kwa sherehe tumefika.
The NTV.
What is happening in your life is demonic machinations, is satanic attacks which are attacking you. So they are downsizing you to make you feel you are useless. You are not useless. In heaven, when God is looking at you, He's seeing a millionaire, He's seeing a president, He's seeing a businessman, He's seeing a leader, He's seeing a visionary, He's seeing a great man, a great woman. May you be the one in Jesus' name.
One of the big challenges in the present state when it comes to sovereign debt distress resolution is the fact that the sands of time have shifted. Back in the mid-90s, when we had the highly indebted poor countries debt suspension initiative, the reason it happened was because debt was largely secured from what we call the Paris Club members, the United States, the Europeans, and Japan. Currently, China has become a huge player. Saudi Arabia has become a huge player. Other players like India have come into the stage of creditors. And when you want to get them to a negotiating table for restructuring, the process has become unusually protracted and daunting because there is no dominance from the Paris Club members. So we ventured into the situation as it is right now and how we can move forward in terms of debt distress resolution.
But you know, the one fundamental problem we have is that, okay, debt comes from, as you know, it comes, there are many components to it. There's bilateral, there's multilateral, and there's private creditor debt, okay? And what we're really seeing is, in bilateral debt, there's been a significant shift because of so-called aid fatigue. The Paris Club members, which is the developed industrial countries, market economies, have put their money, are not putting enough money. Whatever little they put it through the multilateral system. And you have in bilateral credit, therefore, China becoming a major player. Okay, and the second thing is we know that overall the share of private creditors in total credit, has increased significantly over a period of time in all countries. So, given that change in composition, you would think at one level that every creditor would think that this country is very clearly not in a position to be able to generate the foreign exchange to meet its payments commitments. So let me go and settle. Let me take a haircut of some magnitude in order to be able to retrieve my losses, particularly because of the fact that I've lent at interest rates, which has allowed me to recoup a significant amount of the capital that I put out. But the way in which they've prevented that kind of thing from happening. So you have a market which prices this debt, and let's say it prices it at 20 cents to the dollar, or 30 cents to the dollar. And then you have an actual renegotiation system in which the way in which they manage to actually get themselves a much better deal, let's say, where they take a haircut of 30 cents to a dollar, which means they get back 70 cents, is that they use the IMF as the police person.
So after the 2000, what happened? There have been initiatives to cancel part of the official debt, and with the heavily indebted poor countries initiative and the multilateral debt relief initiative. Yeah, so for most countries there have been significant debt relief by the mid, let's say 2005, 2006, you see. And so that means that these countries now have more policy space to go into debt again. And what happened was that between, let's say, 2005 and 2015, there have been a commodity price boom, you see. But unfortunately, most of our, extractive sectors have been privatized to some extent. So the commodity boom, all the export income was not captured by the states, by the domestic economies, but by the transnational corporations, that control those sectors, you see. And like, for example, in the 1970s, from the 2010s, with, the global liquidity cycle, the, policies of unconventional monetary policies in the global north, zero interest rate policies, quantitative easing, there have been a lot of, liquidity, in the global north. And when you have zero interest rate in the global north, it might be tempting to go to the global south to invest there, for index investment, or buy bonds to have 7% in Kenya, 10%, I don't know, in Ghana. And that's what they did. And African countries, oh, nice, because we have good economic prospects, because we are enjoying good growth, etc. And this will continue. And so they got into debt massively. But this time, they got indebted, in capital markets. They issued Eurobonds. And that is really something different from the previous crisis, because the previous crisis, let's say in the 1980s, the debt was mostly held by official creditors, bilateral creditors and multilateral development banks, and sometimes some banks, commercial banks. But now, significant part of the debt is held by Eurobond holders. And so it's a different dynamic, because those Eurobond holders, nothing will oblige them to come to the table to negotiate for debt restructuring, you see. So that has been the pattern. So you see, the 2000, we have good economic growth spurred by commodity prices. And when this boom in commodity prices started, to end, the countries, issued massively Eurobonds.
IMF programs and austerity-linked conditionalities, do they work for economies or do they not? That has been one of the key questions being raised, especially as we see a wave of protests sweep through markets such as Kenya, which are currently under an IMF program. So I asked my discussants whether this is a key issue and how we should look at the austerity measures which come with IMF programs, especially when countries are in situations where they are facing elevated debt distress.
The IMF basically comes with a little bit of money, waiting till the situation becomes dire and extreme in these countries, and gives you that little bit of money to shape a whole strategy in which they can extract the maximum possible by imposing austerity. So you force people to cut their consumption and their savings, because you have domestic debt restructuring, so you even reduce their savings in order to be able to release in order to be able to reduce the income so much that they cannot import, even if they need it, because some countries need to import food or fuel, but you actually force this austerity on them to release this foreign exchange. So you're in some sense saying that, listen, I'm the de-risking agent for you. And it's very important for them. It's that they cannot live without these indebted developing countries, because they need to lend more, because they need to keep the money they have in hand, which is a huge amount of liquidity, moving. But they want to have some degree of confidence that there would be some kind of a ceiling to the amount that they would lose, if you want to call it that. And the IMF plays the role through its debt sustainability analysis.
So what happened was debt distress, lost decades in Latin America and in Africa. And we had, to go through the austerity programs, austerity plans of the IMF, liberalization, privatization, and macroeconomic stabilization. That means, to be in austerity mode, that means less spending, etc., for, let's say, health, education, etc. And every effort has to be done to try to repay the debt. And we did that for 2 decades, 1980 to 2000. But at one point, when you see the debts under IMF, the goal of austerity policies is to punish these countries, to impoverish them, and to allow the foreign investor to come to buy their assets, because their currencies generally are devalued. So after the 2000, what happened? There have been initiatives to cancel part of, the official debt. And with the heavily indebted poor countries initiative and the multilateral debt relief initiative. Yeah, so for most countries, there have been significant debt relief by the mid, let's say 2005, 2006, you see. And so that means that these countries now have more policy space to go into debt again.